Welcome everybody to episode 3. I'll be going over everything that I've done so far, and we'll catch our way up to getting to figuring out what all of this data, is. How do we use all this data? We got a lot of data. All right, but let's go over how we got this data. How do we get here? This is what we did. So here is the layout. This is my apartment where my speakers are. I wanted to make them symmetrical, so we started off by picking a distance. Now we could do it in a couple different ways. You can just deal with wherever your speakers are. That's fine if they have to be there. Or if you want to ideally move them around. I don't, because I need everyone to be able to walk this path to get to the window here. So what I ended up doing instead, since they have to be there, is I got this one set up 14 inches away here and here, and I went with the far base because that's a repeatable thing I can do over here. Both speakers, by the way, are double-sided sticky taped onto the stands, and they're both symmetrical. But there's still some variables that happen, and that's what we're going to correct. 14 inches from the wall and 22 inches from the side of this pole to the wall. And did the same on the other side. Then we measure the middle of the room. You can either use like a microphone stand, a chair, something you like with a T that you have a good like 2 to 3 feet of area. And you want to find the middle from both walls. Make sure you find the absolute middle dot. I have a counter here, so I'm fortunate that I can actually use the counter. And I put a marker down there. And then once we have our center dot, which is fine, we can use a laser to make them perfect. To make them perfect, you want to basically close one eye and look on the inside here, and you want to get in the middle of these speakers close. And you'll see that you can see the side of the speaker, the back corner and the front corner, and then the whole surface, because you're over here, you can see there. And you want to back up with that one eye until the front corner and the back corner are flush. If your speakers aren't a flat shape on the side, then you can just use the reference of your eyeballs here to view where it goes. Because technically you're just trying to find the exact straight point out from here and get it generally in the middle. And once you get kind of like generally about the V shape that you want, then you can take one of the speakers and you can put a laser on it and shine it over here. I go with the outside, and I just used a little pet laser, by the way. Nothing special. It seems to be flat, so it goes pretty straight, but even if it was angled, it wouldn't matter. Just make sure you put the laser up against the side of the speaker in the same orientation every time. So the outside of the speaker here is where I put the laser facing this way, and I put it on the outside of this speaker facing this way. Let's try to get a better cross. There we go. A little bit better. And yeah, it actually crosses right about there. But the point is, the laser is going to be symmetrical, and it's pretty easy once you figure out, all right, the speakers are generally in the cross I want. Laser one up here and just measure the distance, and then flip it. Do the exact same measurement to there and put a marker there and make sure the laser perfectly touches that. So I just put a pen here and a pen here, and I shine the laser until it touches the very perfect tip of the pen, so I know that both speakers are both facing exactly the same direction. Once you get them lined up like that, you're not good to go, because technically if you want to go further and make sure they're 100% symmetrical to help with any phase issues and other things, I measured this edge of the speaker to the wall, and then I measured the back edge of the speaker to the wall. Let's get a little bit smaller of a line, darker. So yeah, I measured this edge to the wall, and then this back edge to that wall. Same with this one. This one went over to that wall. This line went to this back wall. And that'll help, because for one, both of them are 14 inches from the wall and 22 inches from the outside of the pole to the wall, both of them. So they're symmetrical-ish. The stands are actually perfect. The speakers now are completely aligned, and you're taking one of them and you're going to make sure that the other one's the same. And it actually is off by a bit. So if this was 10 inches from the wall to this corner, and this one was 9, you just go down below and move the entire thing. This 22 would turn into a 23. And you just move the whole thing out, realign 14. Then you do the other one. Let's say that was 10 and it was 9 here. Well, you pull it out away from the wall 1 inch on the bottom. So this 14 would turn into a 15. And you want to just make sure that they're both symmetrical. If you want to do that, that's what I did to make sure that they're perfectly symmetrical. I really want to do that for the test so that we have a good baseline. Everything is as good as it gets. And then I back the chair up and we put our microphone. It is put away, but you can see it in the other videos. And I'll show you. It was this one right here. Oh no. Caitlin's behind me talking. You won't be able to hear us most of the time, but it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Caitlin. Woo! Her fist popped up. This is the one I bought. I bought the mini DSP UMic-1. We went over the fact that you do not want to buy these cheap ones. They're not going to do a good job. You need a room calibrate, or no, you need a calibration mic. A calibration mic is what you're buying. You have to have a calibration mic. And all a calibration mic is a microphone that can accurately tell you how loud something is. That's it. From whether it's 20 hertz or 20,000 hertz, whatever pitch in between, your voice, a car going by, a whole bunch of stuff, anything really, it'll tell you exactly how loud it is. So that is why you want to get one of those, because then you have a good reference point to fix things. It's truly flat and it tells you exactly the volume. And it comes with, they take the microphone, they put it in an acoustic chamber, and they take a perfectly flat signal, so it's from low pitch to high pitch noises, which we can show you right here in RU. Low pitch noises, 20 hertz, super low pitch bass. You can't really hear it, you just feel a lot of it. 30 hertz you can kind of hear, but it's low. 40 hertz is like good bass. 50 hertz is pretty normal bass. And 60. And around 60 to 80 is where your kick lies, up to like 100, and there's always a harmonic that happens over in the 200s. Everything from 100 up to about like 400 to 600. It's kind of like the warmth, the mud. Too loud, it's muddy and overwhelming and sounds bad. Too little and it kind of sounds thinner. But of course, as long as you have the sub, you don't really need this like for rap and stuff. Rock also cuts out a lot of this mid-tone because they want it to be chunkier. So higher ends, and that's why rock things look like that. And if you ever seen some EQ shapes when you click like pop filter or rock filter. But anyways, they sweep the same thing that I did, a perfect flat pitched note all the way across all frequencies. And then they just show what the color of the microphone did, because the microphone's going to record a little bit different. Nothing's perfect. And then they give you the EQ file to completely fix that. So no matter what you actually hear out of the mic, it's going to be the correct decibel level, the volume level. And that's really important, because right now we got some loud points, we got some quiet points, and that's not going to help us out here. So the mini DSP UMic-1 is a USB-C mic, which is really nice. And you can just plug it into your computer. All you need is speakers, a computer, and this microphone, and a string or a tape measure, something to be able to figure out center of the room. That's about it. Distances help. These mics here, $60 to $100, are going to be fine. They're going to work. But they are XLR mics, like this microphone here. So it's not a USB-C. An XLR has to plug into an audio interface. You can find very cheap audio interfaces, and then you would plug your speakers into the audio interface, your microphone into the audio interface, and then the audio interface into the computer. And then you can actually do phase alignments. So these would be useful to buy just for the hell of it if you happen to have a subwoofer and you wanted to learn how to do phase alignments to make sure that the subs and the other speakers and everything are, all the sound waves are coming together at the same moment and not all messed up. You can do that with one of these mics. With the USB-C, it's not sending out the signal from a source to the speakers and collecting data from the mic at the same speed because of USB-C technology. It's not instant, there's a latency. So it can't truly determine what the phase alignment is. So that's the downside, but you can do the EQs just fine. And like I said, this microphone specifically is for capturing decibel levels of any frequency. And then if you get up into the expensive ones, the more expensive ones, it's just pretty much for scientific stuff if you want to like accurately capture tiny, tiny variations or frequencies beyond human hearing and stuff like that. Specialty cases. So we got our mic. This is the microphone right down here, by the way. And it's in the this is the thumbnail. Dawn can come back down, yes. My neighbor. So YouTube, you ask YouTube for data, it goes into your computer. Then YouTube sends that audio signal into the main computer, and that will come out your master here. You want to make sure this always stays at 100. Never turn down your master unless you, well, didn't have speakers, I guess. But if you're using a laptop and it has laptop speakers, it's okay to use the volume button like that. I mean, that's what it's intended for. But if you have external speakers, never turn it down. It does affect things. You want to keep that at max at all times. You also want to go into your settings, system, sounds, and you want to click on your thing here and make sure the audio enhancements and spatial sounds are off. You don't want anything on. You want max volume. This is where my sound, how my sound comes out to of my computer. It comes out of my computer through Rodecaster Pro Secondary. That's what I chose. So that I want to be completely clean. For the microphone, it's not plugged in right now, but when it is plugged in, you want it to be at 100%. It works fine at 100%. My microphone, personally, I have it at 50%. Seems to be better for talking to people and other apps and things. So that's good. So now we got our volume level maxed out. Everything's set up. You got your speakers lined up. They're facing in a perfect X, and where your listening position is. By the way, your head will be in front of the listening position, or that is the actual point where both speakers line up will be about a foot behind your head. Because if you take a triangle shape, it's going to go from a central dot and then spread out. And you want your ears to hit that triangle line to the speakers and be the same thing. So yeah, make a triangle. You'll be in front of the microphone technically. You could actually just put the microphone at the perfect position. They call it the listening position, but you will actually be listening to it in front of that. So you could sit in front of the microphone to just verify that. Yep, that works. That's good. You don't have to, but then I set up the microphone. I decided to take 3 measurements because I was curious. In right next to the monitor, which is going to be right about here, and then from the floor, this comes down and reaches the floor right here, and we got like 6 feet. And it'd be in between the 6 feet, right in the middle, right at the listening spot, that triangle spot. And then I took one more measurement right here, and had the mic set up straight up right here. So I got 3 different spots to verify different things, just to kind of get a sense of the room. Because I'm not only trying to make my spot sound good, I'm trying to make the whole room sound good. So now we got this. Got all this data. That's really great. We put the mic up here, and we went over how to use RU. When you open RU, you go into Preferences, and there'll be nothing here. Obviously nothing on the left. It'll just be an empty graph, which is fine. Yeah, you click Preferences. You're going to set your output device. I specifically want this. Do not use the EXCL. That's some specialty thing. There's actually reasons to do that and not do that. So don't do that. And then default device for input, which actually would be the microphone. The microphone that you bought. Input would be default. Everything else doesn't matter. Different, sure. If you happen to have a sound card, you can use it. I mean, you can also do your audio interface and make sure that is perfect too, but it's not necessary technically. But if there's any discrepancy in your audio interface or sound card, yes, that's when you would use that. But what you'll actually need is the U mic -1, since that's what I own. I had to put in the 90-degree text tab. There is facing forward with the microphone, which is fine. That's more for directional things. But when you're doing a room EQ thing, you want to definitely be face up and down. Hi, Don. So we had the microphone facing up and down at the 90 degrees, and that is the EQ that I put in. So they actually put it in a chamber, and they EQ'd the mic to be forward, and they EQ'd the mic to be sideways. And sideways is what you want. We don't have anything else going on, doesn't matter. So then you're done with this, you're good to go. Now we're gonna have to set up the microphone because we got Rue open. We wanna take a measurement, but we need to make sure our measurement's gonna be accurate. So like I said, make sure your volume is at 100% on your computer. And then you wanna go to the SPL meter and you'll get to see how loud it is in the room with your mic on because it's already plugged in. Everything should be working now. And yeah, you can see the decibel level of things in your room, which is great. That's your first reference. You want to keep it on SPL. You want it on weighting of C. And you want it to be on a fast, not the slow milliseconds, so you can really make sure you know what you're doing. Now basically, you're going to notice that it'll be like 40 or 50 decibels. If it's like 60 or 70 decibels, and you have everything off in the room, make sure you turn everything off in the room. No noise possible. The lower your ambient noise, just the air noise is, the better results you can get. So if it's like at 60 decibels, you might want to go higher for this next part that I'm going to mention. We open up the generator, set -12. What kind of speakers do you have? I have full range speakers. They're the Yamaha HS8s. So they have a sub and a tweeter, technically full range. It goes from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So that's what I set the custom range to. Full range is pretty much the same, but I decided to go custom range. -12 decibels, you want to set, and do not press this button. This is very important, not yet. So we're on noise, we want pink random, and we're going to now, with our max volume, it's going to be really bad if we click this button. It'll be so loud. You want to go and turn down your speakers. Your speakers need to have a volume knob on them, or you need to have a volume knob on your audio interface, or a mixer console, or you need a volume knob somewhere. It's very important to have that. So once you have a volume knob for your speakers, turn it all the way down. You can click the button. You want to do just the left channel and then the right channel. And when you click the button, it'll make a noise, static noise. And you want to turn the volume up on that speaker until this thingy over here reaches 75 decibels. That's a good standard. But like I said, if your ambient room noise is like 60, 65 decibels, it's really loud for some reason, you can also do the test at 80 or 85 decibels. You can get around there. You don't want to push your speakers, but you want to be, you don't want to make the speakers so loud that they start distorting or struggling, but you also don't want it so quiet that the room volume obscures the speaker test. You get a better result the louder it can be with no distortion. So honestly, as loud as you can handle it and get it to with no distortion is perfectly fine. The U mic though, I think it only goes like 120 decibels or 110 decibels. So just mind your mic, make sure you're not, usually calibration mics aren't meant to go to insane decibel levels, but there are ones that do that. And then you'd click the button on the left and you go, you'd say 75, then you do it on the right, and it should say the same thing. If they both show the same decibel level of 75, then you're good to go. If you notice that they might be off, then you can always adjust for that too to make sure, because what if one speaker was in a weird spot and it just happened to be quieter than the other? You can adjust overall things, but generally we wouldn't be touching that. I mean, we already got them symmetrical as good as we could wherever you can place them. I actually had them closer to the walls so that I could get a bass boost. And the closer you get to the wall, the more of a hump you get. So my roll off is over here. Let's do both because both matter more. So both combine to roll off around 28 hertz. That's where the bass starts going down. And that's amazing because usually they're supposed to be around 40 hertz they roll off. So I gained an extra 10 hertz, and that's a huge deal. And that's being close to the wall. I actually gained even more when I were closer to the wall. But you'll lose clarity putting them closer to the wall. You're just using that reinforcement. The good thing is this is the speaker level right here that everything should be at. And you can see we have a big bump. So that means instead of the speaker that's normal volume. At normal volume, it's outputting more sound compared to what everything else is making, which is great because then you can turn that down and your speaker doesn't have to try as hard to hit that volume level. So you get actually a good, when you bass boost later, just for flavor, because I like to add bass to rap songs or other songs, you add some more thump. sounds more subby, you can boost it and still be in safe ranges for your speaker, which is really handy to do in my opinion. So we got the generator and the SPL meter. We know how loud stuff is. Lemon juice. Yes. And we set up our custom range. We wanted our pink random noise, and we pressed the button and we listened, and it made the noise, and we got to 75 hertz in both speakers individually. Left speaker and then the right speaker. And then we're just going to go to measure. And now when we're in measure, we can name it. As you can see, I named all of these. We started with the left at 1 foot and 1.5 feet, basically. And at 1.5 feet on the left one, we got 14-22. That means, for me, that's just marking the fact that this time my speakers are 14 inches away from the wall, the same way that I always measure them, and 22 inches away from the wall, the other way that I always measure them. It's very consistent. I can't forget where I'm measuring from. It's easy. And then how far my microphone is. And I'm always doing center position, so I don't need a discrepancy on that. But you would mark down those things. Where your speakers are positioned exactly to your reference speaker. Like I said, one speaker is perfectly 14 inches and 22 inches from the wall. The other speaker I had to adjust a bit. We're going to ignore that one because that's the adjustment that one always is going to get. No matter what that one gets, the other one is going to be adjusted because of issues. And that's fine. You don't have to, but that's the way I'm going to go about it. So we're just going to take the easy data of the reference speaker and the fact that I was a certain distance away, which happened to be, this one was 50, this one's 150 inches. Yeah, the mic is always centered, so I just need to know how far away from the center. Like if you take I measured from the center of the speakers. You can measure in any way that you want to just tell you where your microphone is. So we got that set. You have to press enter for it to apply to will as appear. And if you use the prefix, it'll add whether you're doing the right or left speaker to begin with, so you don't have to write down left and right every time you do something, which is nice because it's always going to be the same, and I'm just really changing one number at the end. So it's easy. And yeah, so once you type in some stuff here, as you notice, it's not adding it. You have to press enter or click prefix, and then it'll change it. Prefix. Yeah, and the prefix just adds a little R, or takes it away. And that's because I'm doing down here, right. So, what? Pick a favorite spot for dinner and catch up with your friends this weekend. The learned Chinese words is, I don't like, wu bu zi huang. Lucky numbers are 44, 6, 31, 24, 16, and 55. So what we're going to do is, up here we're doing a sweep. It's going to go from low pitch to high pitch. And that's what we're setting down here. Our range is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. That's what I chose to do because that's fine for my speakers. If you don't have a speaker that can go down that low, then just set it a little bit lower than it can go. It should be fine. And you can adjust this to taste, and you can do tiny little EQs if you want to really figure out one little section that's difficult to fix. All that kinds of stuff. Up here though, on the negative 12 decibels standard, and always do that. And blah 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 blah, doesn't matter. We're gonna go up to sweep, and the length of the sweep, this just is how long. Is it gonna be a 1.4 seconds, so do, or is it gonna be 5 seconds and be do? You know, like that. All the way up to fucking, I don't know why you do an 87 second one, but if you really need the data, you could. 5 seconds is perfectly fine. And it's just going to do one, because down here we're going to actually type in what we need. So this is from Rue. The playback of that sound is from Rue. You can choose a file if you have a specific file that you want to imply. That's for some interesting things you can do. Sample is 48 because that is what my audio interface can do. And then we want repeated measurements, and we're doing starting delay of 8 seconds. I probably should have done 10. Some of the first ones were kind of screwed up because I couldn't get outside the door in time. And we did 6 measurements. You can do 1, you can do 3, you can do 6. The more the better. I think around 10 probably you're going to get a really good average. You're going to notice that there's some patterns that happen. Sometimes there's weird things that happen, and you want to just get the most baseline average of all of them. So we decided to start delay was 8 seconds. We did 6, so we're good on that. Default is fine. And then we would change it to the left speaker, and we do now want to capture noise floor. And then we'd literally just click start, and it'll do the doo. And it'll do that 6 times. You want to leave the room completely. If you you would think that I want to get the EQ with me being here so it sounds as good as it can get, but the microphone has to be somewhere around your head, which means you are now a reflection point. You are going to add color to the sound. And we want to be in the good sound, making color away from us. We don't want to record the color coming away from us into the microphone. So that's why you want to definitely have the speakers just free, everything normal, the way your room should be, and leave the room completely. Make sure to have everything set up exactly the way that you would always use it. If you happen to open a window, you could do this whole process again with the window open and make an EQ specifically for the window being open. Then you could literally click a button and have an EQ for your window open or closed. If you wanted, you could totally do that, or your door open, you know, stuff like that, in case you want to vent the air out. You actually get a completely different room mode and EQ and everything when you do this. It's kind of fun. So we got our data. I started with putting the mic right here, putting the mic right about here, out farther, and then I put the mic on the bed back there. And I even did a both, and both was at 50 inches, which was right in the middle listening position. Alright, so now we got all this data, and we're caught back up. Indeed. It's Caitlin's birthday. Hell yeah, what a good day. Now we need to average all of this out. The both is just going to be a reference thingy, but we can start with the both. So we're going to take and highlight all of them. We are in all SPLs. You can go to 1, that's fine. You can go to waterfall plots, which is also great, but we'll use the waterfall plot at the end here. So we got the all SPL, so we got all of them lined up, and we're going to zoom in and see if there's any discrepancies. Now, this is 82 decibels. This is 82 decibels, 82.3, 82.6. That discrepancy is not going to make a difference. But I do notice that the purple line did a little bit more of a wiggle down there. Those are all good. But we do have a lot of craziness going on down here. And I do like the smooth form. The less stuff going on is the better. These three are so far apart. I'm not really sure what's going on. But these two are really good. So we're going to delete the ones that we don't want. Okay, we do want that one because I can't tell where that one is. The green one and the purple one. That leaves us with 3 lines. You can't even tell there's 3 lines there. Those 3 lines are really good. That's going to be our average. So from those 3 lines, all we do is right click. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one other thing. Every time we take a measurement, once we get all 6 of our measurements, just highlight them all, make them a group, and once they're all highlighted, go into here into smoothing and apply, because normally it'll look like this. And that's unusable data. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? This is absolutely insanity. This is showing you room nodes, all these huge spikes. These are the problem areas in your room, where that exact specific note just doesn't ring out. It's too quiet. But we don't perceive this difference between 240 hertz and 254 hertz shouldn't be much of a big deal. So anyways, put it on 1/3. You can do 1/6 too if you really want a little bit more sharp bumps. But this amount of bumpiness is not going to be the best to EQ, to flatten out. That's a lot of bumps. If you wanted to go do it like this, I would recommend just allocating out like 20 hertz to maybe like 300 hertz, or in this case, where things don't get all crazy, I would go like up maybe 600 hertz, because right here seems to be pretty stable. Just find a good stable spot. This is pretty stable. And then just do all of this only on this side, EQ that, and then EQ all of this separately after. You can do stuff like that if you want hyper EQs, but sharp EQs are not advised. This one is much better. It gives you the generalization of what actually is happening. So we got our 3 selected, and we just want to go in here and just RMS average them. We don't need anything else. And that green line right there is the one that we need. And that one's going to show up way down here. We're going to drag it all the way back up. Probably want to rename it first.
Pass the potato salad, please.
Ah. What? Hold on. Oh, I clicked the button. Huh. Well, I don't know how that works then. I would add it to a group though. But before we add it, oh, it does say average. So yeah, we can just add it. Then we'll know what it is. So there we go. So there's our actual... Oh, these have to be selected. Oh, it even shows the 2 blue go to that one, as you can see. So there we go. There is our average for both, which is nice. We got that. Now we have to do this for every single one of these. Now I already did the average for this one. We took all of these. We had a blue discrepancy here that was getting kind of weird, and it was pretty low, but generally it actually fits with everything else, to be fair. So red is good. Orange looks good. Yellow is kind of a little bit weird, but overall is about the same. But these two are weird. These don't make sense why we got these extra ones. So we're going to get rid of those. Besides the fact that those extra ones are creating quite a bit of more change. And we would rather go with the one that is the least changey, you know. So all of these are just pretty much the same. But this blue one, it's really off here and there. It's more extreme than the rest. So I was like, yeah, we don't need that. You could leave it in. And then it looks like the yellow one is off too. Or we could EQ that in. But in general, I just would rather not even worry about it. And I think we just averaged out with that. Oh no, we did have the yellow one then. Maybe. Yeah, we would have had to have the yellow on for that to be like that. So we got that average. We're done with that. We're going to do now left at the listening position. Looking really clean. You're fine. Looking really clean. And then we got a bunch of stuff going on here, and it all is honestly all completely. You could average all of this if you wanted. One of them is awkward though. That one is really smooth. Like nothing happened. It's interesting. But I'm just looking to see. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So red is all over the place. This orange one is pretty all over the place. The green one is interestingly. So yeah, honestly, we could probably do all of them. No, of course not. You can't. Well, you can just look here.
No.
Well, I heard that. Is there any other discrepancies that are really weird? Red one was low and the yellow one was high. And yellow is high. I don't like these 2 peaks. I think those are the only 2 that are like awkward. And the rest of them can all just be shoved together into some type of form. The orange one seems to be completely different than the other ones. Let's turn back on this and see. Yeah, the orange one is the only one that's not doing anything that makes sense. You want to basically try to make sure that all the little bumps are as close as possible. This one has a huge peak here. That one has a weird bump. This one has a huge peak. All of these are generally pretty good. And then of course this one is falling off really harsh. So to make it as neutral as possible, we're going to go with these two. And we're just going to right click on it and RMS average. And that brings it down here. And we're going to right click that and we're going to add it to the group, which is going to be the 50 at the end. And I forget, what are we doing? We are on L50. We're going to go up here and add this to L50. Perfect. So now we got that EQ. And we're going to keep going. I'm going to do it with all of them. This is back farther in the room. Now you can see the green one's all fucked up. That's because I didn't leave the apartment in time. So my door was open and gave us a huge bass boost, which is kind of interesting. But that bass boost could have been from literally the door actually closing. Since the door closing is so low pitch in frequency, it might have just been it might have been that. So we're gonna have to get rid of that green. Green is useless. Now what is generally going on? It looks like this blue one is not tied up to the rest of them. We got a little discrepancies here. How much of a difference is this? 70 to... Oh, wait. Oh, 70.6 to 70.1. So, doesn't really matter. 0.5 decibels is unnoticeable. We got one little hook down here on the yellow one. And it looks like the yellow and orange ones are kind of trying to pull it back up a little bit. But the yellow at the tip, I'm looking, it should be fine. We could probably take all of this and average it. I mean, we can just check out and see what the average would be. And it actually is perfect. So, yeah. And we are on now L91. So we're going to add that to L91. Oh, I guess I didn't have it highlighted. Now I can add it to L91. Okay. There we go. You can actually see compared to everything. Blue line is covering everything. It's dead in the center. Just what we'd like. So there's those results. We're good on that. Now we're going to move on to right at 1 foot, 1.5 feet. Turn them all on. Look for discrepancies. I already can see that 2 of them are really off. So whatever that purple one is, I'm going to get rid of that. And the pink one. And all of these are exactly the same, pretty much. So we're going to average those out. And this is R1.5. So we're going to right click R1.5. Right there, right in our group. You're supposed... No. It's supposed to be here. There. Alright, we got that data. Now we're doing R50. That would be our listening position. A little bit of purple on the front end, but it's too small to really matter. We got a lot of stuff going on here. It looks like most of them are doing this up pattern, and these 2 that are kind of awkward aren't really making sense. So we're going to find them and get rid of them. And this should be a good average right here. This is getting all of the main humps. We're just trying to find, like, all of these measurements is showing that around here is a hump. It gets a little weird up in the top spectrum at 10K because everything eats up hypersonic sounds or whatever. Not hypersonic, but high-pitched sounds. All right, we got an average there, and we're adding it to R50. So we got it in R50. We can highlight everything again and get rid of R50, and now we can do R91. All right, we're almost on to equalizer APO to apply these settings. Yellow looks like it has an issue at the beginning. I don't like it. And it's probably because I didn't get out the door in time. Because the 91s, I had a problem getting out the door in time, so the first one got a little corrupted. So overall, it looks like we got these three doing that. If we added that extra one back in, yeah, it's kind of confused at the end as well. It's trying to do this up-down shape. This other shape that's going on is kind of conflicting with it. So we're gonna get rid of the purple, and we're gonna get rid of the blue, and that gives us a better reading. These together should be probably really good. Let's try it out. Yeah, that's what I thought. That looks fine by me. And that one also needs to be added to where it is, but it's not actually in the group yet. So R91, add to group. All right. I'm going to turn on all of these. Now we have all of our data. So this is how we're going to go about this. We want to compare different listening positions in the room. So we're going to take our right speaker, average, and that is at 91 inches away. That's over by the bed. It's on top of the bed. Then we're going to take our right 50, and we're going to take our right 1 foot and 6 inches. 18, so 18 inches. So 18 inches, 50 inches, and 91 inches. So this is the difference that you'll get, and we're going to change the colors of these. So the first right one is going to be the color of, this is close, this is going to be red. Then we're going to do yellow, and then we're going to do blue for far away. Alright, so red is close, yellow is neutral, blue is far away. As you can see, having the microphone be right here next to the monitor and the speakers and everything in this zone, we get a huge boost in this we got from here. So from 86 hertz, we'll just say 90 hertz basically, to 400 hertz. We got this weird area that's super loud right here. But the good news is as soon as we moved back from here to right over to here, it just completely washed that all away. And now we got these two measurements. So this tells me that up here where very few people will be when I am like sitting like right up here against the computer screen, it'll be a bit different in a few spots. I'm going to notice it'll be a little bit louder in this region. And everything else is almost the same. I also have a little bit more clarity in the brilliance section, which is really nice that this is up here. By the way, this shows you exactly what's going on. Infrasound is 20 hertz and lower. You can't hear it. Your subwoofers, sub bass, that's up to 60 hertz, 20 to 60. Then your bass levels, which is just like your kick, is 60 to 250. She's gonna go upstairs and grab the wonton stuff. Oh my gosh. Then our low mids we got here. This is still like muddy territory and the warmth of your song. The mids is gonna be where people speak. What? Yeah, I just check it out, maybe give it a little rinse. Just go make wontons on her birthday. We just went out to Joy Garden. She had rice, but she wants the wontons. Fair enough, they're homemade wontons that she's gonna make. Hi, Don. I'm still here. Hold on, I'm almost done. Maybe. Actually, we're getting there. We're pretty close. Because I'm only gonna be taking one measurement to really care. I mean, we can do an average of everything if we wanted to. But essentially, being up close is taking away some of our bass. It is making it a bit better. The dip isn't as bad. The average line, the yellow, that's a room node. So we're closer to a room node actually being out here. So we're going to have a little bit of a problem at our room node of 88 hertz. That's unfortunate. Not much you can do. But you can see even if you're close or if you're far away, it's still about the same. So that's good. No matter where you are in the room, the whole room seems to have a problem with 88 hertz. That is literally because the front and back walls are the exact distance of 88 hertz. Or it would actually be probably... No, 88 hertz would probably be that distance, unless that's double. Let's just make a little graph real quick so we can see. Can you make a graph? Or no. Can you make a list? You make a list of room length actually, can you make a list of hertz length every 10 hertz 10 hertz to 100. Okay. This is how fucking long things are. Alright? At 100 hertz, it's an 11-foot long wave. That means you have a pressurized zone here, and then you have nothing in the middle, and then over there is negative pressure. So that's the sine wave. And up on the sine wave, or when you're doing music, the up is pressure condensed, and when it's negative, it's suction. That's what sound is pressure and suction over and over again at a frequency. And that's 11 foot long at 100 hertz. 90 hertz is 12. You know, we're not doing too bad. 80 hertz is 14, then 16, 18, 22. But then this is where the graph starts getting crazy. 50 hertz is 22. You'd think, oh, well, it would probably be around like 40 or something when you get down to like 0. No, 0 is infinite, obviously, and 10 hertz is 113 feet. Our 80 hertz nose is 14 and a half feet, and my apartment is 14 and a half feet long, so that is exactly the reason why we have this problem right here. It's the room node. The only way to do anything about that is to make bass traps, and that is lots of huge mass with air gaps of about 3 to 4 inches, and you'd actually probably want to target the 80 hertz node on top of it, and it'll just eat up frequencies in certain spots and change the bounce back. So instead of getting 80 hertz to ring back and forth, you'd want to eat up 80 hertz at the other wall as much as you can, so less bounces back and you don't get the room node anymore. That's essentially what you'd be doing with large, heavy objects. That's the whole purpose behind doing that. And you'd also put it behind your speakers too, on all sides. Every corner of the room, you basically want to have a bass trap to eat up this giant issue right here. And it would just go away, just like that. It'd be great. It's going to cause other things to change a little bit too, but it's definitely going to help out a lot. So we don't have to worry about close-up. It's pretty crazy. But if we're in the middle of the room or we're at our listening position, it's generally the same. We just have a bit of discrepancy here in the middle of the room, and that's probably because of our fundamentals are coming through here. You can constantly see these are the fundamentals of the room node. A little bit of a problem, but we're gonna just deal with it and we're gonna fix it. So that's good to know that our front to back is pretty even. You know, you're losing a little bit of volume level from distance. Overall, I mean, it's farther away compared to the other one, but you do gain a little bit of some of this bass, and it's a little bit cleaner because your room node isn't as harsh. But this hump is all fine. This hump is exactly what I want. That's because it's next to the wall. So all of this is reinforcement from the sub, which is really neat. The one that I care about is going to be the listening position. I'm just happy that this one is here. We could make a double, like average out this, but we're going to lose a lot of clarity in the actual, what we're trying to do with the speaker. This is going to blur everything and smear it more. So not ideal. You can do other things, but yeah, we're gonna just go with that. And then if we were to look at the same the left 50, you can see our left speaker compared to the right speaker at the same listening position is a bit different. Since we don't have that big sub box area down here amplifying bass and doing something weird, it actually is, we get a little less clean bass. It's a little weaker, it like tapers off faster. You'd want gentler curves as best you can. But the fact that we gain this giant peak and it fixed the entire peak is a big deal. Knowing that that speaker specifically over there is reverbing in the room and breaking up enough to not have as much of an issue with the room node. But the one over here is having a big issue with the room node. It could be because of the computer box, but it's also probably because I have this like island thing in the middle of my apartment and some shelves on one side. So when the bass comes out, it goes across the room and comes back from that corner to the other corner and backwards like a pool. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. It's her birthday. She's 30 something. We're not counting anymore. All right, guys, hold on. Quick break. Oh, it's worth it. Hold on, guys. Wait a minute. Hold on, guys. All right, we had to take a dog break. Dog breaks are important, huh? All right, we're gonna turn it back to only hearing me again. There we go. I'm gonna cut off again. Unless they yell. All right, back to this. So we got all of our measurements right here. We got all of our measurements. We're doing good. We're doing good. So now we want to take the ones that make the most sense. We're also going to go over our lists again. So this is highlighted. This is highlighted. We're going to get rid of that. We could copy these and make them into a little list down below, which I might do. It's not too important. Left 50. Left 50 and right 50. That's right. That's what we're doing. And then we're going to overlay both averages. So this is important. When both speakers are combined, this is what you hear. So this big dip isn't that bad, actually. This is literally the average of both speakers at 50, and then the right speaker and left speaker at 50 as well. Mic never moved, stayed put. That was in episode 2. And this is our real line of what we're dealing with. This is our reference line. So where our points are, the shape that we're trying to follow, we're trying to make sure that this top shape follows the bottom shape as good as it can. As you can see, the right speaker, let's label these here. So the right speaker is going to be red. The left speaker is going to be blue, which it is, and then we'll use green. Perfect for both of them. So we're looking over this. We have a big discrepancy in the left to right speakers. What it looks like is this dip is coming from our left speaker, and this bump is coming from our right speaker, and that's how it combines it. So it kind of like shrinks it up. You get an average. This is literally the average of both. If we were to average this out, which we can, we take and just average these, and that'll be purple. And we're going to get rid of the left and the right. You can see that the averages is the same, pretty much. So with both speakers, we literally recorded the green. And by recording the left speaker and the right speaker independently and then averaging them out, as in same way that, real life would happen in our heads, they're pretty darn close together. We get a little bit more drastic drop off here. But in general, the shape, both of these shapes are pretty much identical. I know there's a way that you can take both of them and adjust their heights so you can overlap them and see how far apart they are. I don't know how to do that exactly, but you can do tons of fun stuff. I mean, we have distortion phases you can learn about, impulse graphs, filtered ARs, GDs, RT60s, decay plots, clarities, which none of these are going to pop up because we have multiple things open, spectrograph, captured. If we went to just one thingy, the average data is not going to give you any of the results that you want. You actually have to pick one of these to be your data point. So you have to figure out which one is the best one and then use that data. But we got a good shelf here. It looks like up to about 400 hertz. I got everything under control. A little bit of a bump here, but everything's really good. A little bit of a random dip here at 1.67 hertz. 1.67 kilohertz. That's 1,670 hertz. We've got a real big null here. This is our main issue spot. And that's at 87 hertz. And then the harmonic and some issues with the harmonic. But other than that, we're doing good. We have this one long note. This note right here is 54 decibels. So we went from 70 decibels, and after 100 milliseconds, about, right here would be 100 milliseconds actually. 63 decibels. So 10 decibel drop after 100 milliseconds. That's very, very fast. 100 milliseconds is like it's like tapping a pen on a table and having gone, and tapping it twice really quickly. You could tell it exists, but it's so small. And that's literally from the volume going from high to low. Imagine turning the volume going like, just instantaneously turning it down all the way to 50 decibels. And we already know that 50 decibels is the room noise floor. So honestly, at that point, any sound you hear is just going to blend in with the room noise and you won't even hear it anymore. So we're actually set all the way to this weird 26 hertz note, but you really can't even hear that note. It's just a feeling. So you will lose a little clarity in some of your low-pitch feeling notes. They'll rumble a little bit longer, quite a bit longer. But after 200 milliseconds, it's already at 50 hertz or 50 decibels. So everything is really good, starting off at 80 decibels almost, and within less than the time it takes to blink your eye, it's already 10, 20 decibels lower. So really good stats. The only thing is the little room node stuff. You can see the decay plot. There's another version somewhere, and I don't remember how. No. Module frequencies. You can learn all about this. I don't know exactly how this stuff works, but this allows you to know how to phase align stuff and do some other really fancy stuffs. You can see we had something going on at 60 hertz for some reason. I have no idea. All kinds of stuff. We're just going to focus on this. So it's good to know that our combined data is equal to this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to EQ both speakers individually. So we're going to take our left 50. Also, let's go over our left channel and see what our ranges were like. In fact, we'll do it like this. Our left front and our right front. How different are the left and right fronts? All right. So we got a little bit of a difference here. This is the right. The red is right. And we're just following the shape to see if there's like any really big discrepancies. This hump right here is a big discrepancy. We have a little bit of a fall off, but we don't have a hump here on the other speaker, so that's an interesting thing. Right here we also have a weird hump instead of dip, which is actually better. And this is where it's off really badly, and it's off there. That's all. Doesn't make any sense. We're going to fix this. I just wanted to see what the close-up ones were. And the far away ones are comparable. So when we get far off into the room, they're less different. Both sides are slightly different due to room modes. But in general, we're pretty close. And then we go back to our actual data here. And it's not, doesn't look the greatest, but it's going to be fixed up here. I'll show you. It'll be fixed up, no problem. And we don't need to see the module frequencies. Don't know what they do, so that's fine. More stuff to learn later. Let's fix it. Here we go. To fix it, we just want one. So we're going to take the left one. It's RMS average. We're going to go to EQ and click on EQ. Now what we can do is this line is our reference line. All of the treble is a little bit low because of the wall reflection, but we do want to get as low as we can. We want to be lowering volume frequencies. We don't want to be raising. So the average of here, which is 75 decibels to 70, is going to be 72.5. So that's basically it, and that's fine right here. In fact, just make sure we're not even doing anything. Let's do 73. We're gonna have a little bump there. So we're gonna go up into this. Doesn't matter. I don't know what it does exactly. We are on full range. But if we do bass limited speaker, we can do the cutoff point of 20 hertz. Yeah, I'm gonna do bass limited. 20 hertz cutoff point. And then our target level, which we already came up with, is going to be 73. 75 was where we were aiming for, but that just means that everything on the speaker is a little bit quieter down here. It's not at 75 decibels. That's literally what it means. The only thing that hit 75 exactly was 700 hertz. So this is just going to be from 75 down to 75 decibels quieter. So in general, we actually would want to boost all this slightly. But we could just take and do both of them at 73. And if we equalize both of them to 73, then it won't be, we'll just be taking away a bit more. Let's do 75 because it is still in the middle, but I'll just let you know, if it's trying to boost too much, it's going to be like, no, that's bad for you, and that's fine. So that's it for this. Bass limited, 20 hertz, perfect. We're not adding a room curve or anything. And then we just go to the task filter, and we want to start at 20 hertz down here. We want to go up to 20,000 hertz. Individual max boosts are maxed. Our flatness target is 1. We want to be as flat as we can. Allow shelves from -12 to 12. High shelf -12 to 12. Allow narrow filter things below 200 and very max Q above 200. Not sure if we need that on. But we just click match target response. And that's what we get. And we don't need to have this big roll off at the end. This side looks good though, over here. The fact that it's coming back up. Yeah, it's coming back up to flat. Sometimes it'll boost it. You don't want any boosts or any weird stuff going on down here. So what did we achieve? Well, if you get rid of our wiggle and we get rid of our filter, this is actually what it becomes now. Now our biggest discrepancy is from 74 decibels to 75 decibels. A 1 decibel discrepancy for the entire speaker. Okay. So yeah, that's literally it. That makes the EQ amazing. I'm just worried about this huge boost at the end. It's kind of unnecessary to boost so much. What we could do is show each filter. Yeah. That helps me see what's going on more. So this filter is boosting all of it, I believe. What is adding to that one big boost at the end? Not really sure. We can rematch it and have it try again and again and again. That time our predicted is a bit more wiggly and a bit more messed up. I don't think doing any of this affects anything, right? No. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing this. This is completely unnecessary. So what we're going to do is allow narrow filters below 200 off. I'm going to match again and see if that just kind of like gets rid of that bullshit. You're just going to do this over and over again until you get something that you like. That's a really nice, clean, flat response. I like that. What we're actually going to be applying, I know there's a lot of junk on here, let's get rid of that. We're actually going to be applying this. So we're going to be applying a filter that takes away some bass, adds a little bass here, just a tiny bit, which is going to be 2 to 3 decibels, about 2 decibels basically, 2.5 decibel increase. The highest is going to be here at almost 4 to 5 decibel increase. The thing that's worrisome is like we don't need from 86, we don't need a 10 decibel increase at the end there. So I think what we're gonna do is we could just cut out trying to get this measurement at the end here. I mean, it is doing a good job in trying to fix it, since it drops off so much. But I'm thinking that's, I'm not sure. I mean, we could. I just hate how big that is. I have no idea what filter is causing it to be up that high. It's really interesting because you look at this thing, it drops down. So like, how does this curve up so well? I'll just match another target and see what happens. Yeah, interesting shape pattern here it shows. It doesn't really matter much. It'll always be slightly different. So it's just fun to kind of go through it and see what you get. Mostly important is that over here it goes flat. We don't want to boost or do anything weird to notes that the speakers can't even produce. And we could go with this. I mean, at 15K it does do this thing where it needs a bunch more. Thing is, I can't really hear anything past 15K anyways. Now, the thing is, notes that are higher than your hearing actually do change the entire songs. You'll hear direction better, even though you can't hear the note. If it's with a sound, you actually can hear which direction that sound's coming from better if it has like hypersonic frequencies or whatever, the really high pitch ones. So we can technically, oh, is this? No, that's still the little bump. No idea what makes that big boost at the end. That's really crazy. But yeah, technically you could just take the 20,000 hertz, you could find where it's doing some weird. You just say 14. We'll do 14, and now when we do the response, it'll be flat, because it doesn't know that it exists anymore. Which is pretty acceptable. The only issue is that our tweeter is going to be producing 4 decibels more across the board, but we did also have to reduce something from 75 down to 67, almost 10. 7 or 5, wait, over 10. That'd be 12. 12 decibel reduction in bass, which is good because I like to boost my bass by 12 decibels anyways, so that just brings it back up to where the speakers are doing what they normally should. The best part is this curve, once it's applied, if we were to apply just a nice little bass boost curve here, it'll just raise all of this up. You'll still have the function in there, fixing the bass. It just, you'll be able to adjust it. This is just a little concerning, but I do like the fact that this isn't so crazy off the wall. We could go a little bit higher than that though, so let's try 15. And it's the same if you have problems with the bass, if the bass is being weird. I cut mine off at exactly 20 and I'm calculating to 20. But if it's really trying to boost this last part, because see how it goes down so incredibly far, it might try to boost this and make a big ass hump, and you don't want that. You want to just bring it back until it stops doing that. You don't want to affect the sound past your speaker's threshold anyways, or at the extremes. Bass boosting 20 to 8 hertz is useless. So we'll just ignore that. So this is at 15,000 hertz, and we get a little more bigger of a bump, but it is not, it's only 5 decibels higher. I'll accept that. That's still going to help that little bit, but it's not going to fully correct this craziness, because this is just ridiculous amount to correct. We're not going to fix this weird roll-off. That's literally the limitation of probably the speakers in this room. And if we go and look up the actual data, it's the the Yamaha, blah, 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 Yamaha HS8 EQ curve. Yeah, as you can see, 10, 11 and a half, 12,000 hertz-ish, it starts rolling off. Same, oh wait, 10 to 20. Oh, it says that it goes above 20 then. So that's our room problems, essentially. Oh, cool. This actually just shows the subwoofer that you can buy, which is the exact same speaker. But no, 20K is this extra line right here, I'm pretty sure. And that's as high as it goes. So it says it's supposed to be flat up to 20K. It's just the room is eating up a lot of that because they're too close to the walls. If they're farther away from the walls, we get a little bit more energy. So that's fine. Now, yeah, so they should go to 20K. So that extra boost is unnecessary to really add. It is there. We could boost it more. I mean, we could go to 16. Might be better. Give it another shot. So it went from 12, or yeah, like 10 decibel boost up to a 13 decibel boost. And that is just too much for me. So we're gonna stick with the 15,000 response. That'll give us a really good end boost to help that, but it won't be as harsh because we don't want the boost to be crazy. So that's the mirror image of everything. That's pretty much, as you can see, it mirror images it pretty darn well, fixes it up, and all we want to do is export that filter setting as text. As I'm going to explain here in a little bit, the equalizer APO uses just Notepad, literally. So this right here that we're going to get into, with all my little adjustments, these are the actual RU EQ things. If I were to open up the RU EQ thing, it'll show you all of the filters to correct my speakers. Imagine setting all of these settings yourself. Every single one individually, and that's not just a number. That's a number to the decibel place of tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. It's a ridiculous amount of numbers. This is why we're using RU, and this is why we're using equalizer APO actually, so that we can take RU's data and export it into here. And that is the old settings. We're gonna get the new ones. And I'll show you how to do that because this is a little confusing on how to use equalizer APO, but we'll get into that in a little bit. For now, we have this. Export this as whatever. We don't need a note. I always enter this as the title of the thing, and you don't have to keep forgetting. Now, unfortunately, I don't know what this is called exactly, so we're just going to go back over into here, and we're going to grab, this is going to be the left channel that we were working on. So this is L142250. That's essentially what that measurement is. So we're gonna go back to this, and now we're gonna export this. We don't need that. Yes, and we're gonna call this 14 inches from the wall by 22 inches from the wall is our reference point for a speaker. That's what I'm using every single time to know where my speaker is in my room. Like that, my measurement is from the microphone being here and the speaker being here. Those are two things you need. So we got that, and then we can dash it by the 50, which is 50 inches away. And I'm always doing center, so I'm not going to write down that it's center. If it was a specific spot, then I would write down other information about that. And this is going to be the left speaker. So we definitely want to put in capital L. And now we know it's the left speaker and all of that. And we're going to save it as text. And we're done with that. Get rid of that, don't need it. Now we're going to go over and get rid of this, and we're going to go to the right 50. This is our average that we took again. We're going to go to room EQ. Everything should be the same, but we're going to double check. Based on the speaker 20, it's at 75 because we said fuck it, we're just going to do it 75. Interestingly though, it has something already up. This is wrong. Let's go to this. Go to SPL and phase. Alright. I want to do the left one again to EQ and see. Yeah, so everything's the same. So now if we go to R50 and open up that one in EQ. There we go. Okay. Whoops. So you don't want to be in all SPL. You want to be in just the single one. That's the only difference. And then when you select one, it'll actually be the one that you're using. So we're on R50. We're going to EQ that. Things are not the same. So base limit 20 hertz. Cutoff point 75 because that's what we agreed. We're just going to do 75 for both. Even though it's going to boost a lot of the this higher range, it'll overall work because we are cutting a lot of bass out. Ideally, you would actually just you'd have to do a few things because you're trying to hit the same decibel level. The whole point is when we turned our volume up to a certain point, it reached 75 decibels. And that's when we took our measurements, and that's good. 75 is good, and unity level for me is actually higher than that, which is fine. There's a whole bunch of things to get everything just right, and I can't remember how it all goes, but we're going to keep pushing through. Either way, the speakers are going to be great. We're also going to take 15. This one really dips down early at 12,000, but we're going to see if that works. Bree, huh? Bree. We got everything we want. We're going to match it to the target and see what happens. From 75 decibels to almost 85 decibels. That's a bit too much. So even though the left speaker needs a bit more boost, unfortunately, we're going to just bring it back a little bit. Let's see if we can just kind of calm that down a little bit. There we go, 82. That's much better. So from 75 to 82 is more acceptable. Since it does need a little bit more of a boost, we're going to do 14,500 and see if we can get just a little bit more out of that. As you can see, it does pop it up just a little bit more. It's still at 83. That's too much. We'll do 250. Try it there. That brought it down. Not quite enough. We'll try 200, 14,200 hertz. Didn't really bring it down at all. Didn't do nothing. And we just keep doing this until we get a result that we like. 150. Still didn't bring it down. $100. That brought it down a little bit. Still 83. So I guess just 14, and we'll see what we get. Alright, well the one time it did go down to 80 for some reason, but for now it is boosting a lot. This is concerning that it has to boost this null that much, because that's the room node, so honestly we're not gaining much out of that, and ideally you probably would want to back this off and just kind of chill this out. That's kind of a pretty extreme bump. But if we did take this up to 20,000, you'll see that it's gonna just blow this out of the water, and that's not good. We shouldn't be raising the decibels by 11. You don't want to boost your speaker by 11 decibels on a certain frequency. That's pretty incredible. It's not going to help. Honestly, we should do the 1500 to match it to the other speaker, but this is such high-pitched frequencies that I'm not even going to hear it, and I still don't like the fact... Oh, it was up here at 86. Sorry, that's 16 decibel boost. This is around 10 down here. So yeah, we're just going to boost it to 1400. Whoops. And that drops it down to here. That's a more manageable amount. Yeah, this one right here is a bit worrisome. We could take and we could show each filter. And we could take this one filter and we could just bring it down. Technically, it's matched to the target again. Because it really wants to boost that one frequency, but like I said, that one frequency is not the greatest. Where is the thingy for that? Don't know what trace options does. Go on to fill each filter. It is weird. Yeah, we could technically just take this and nope, we drag it down. But we won't. If it causes a problem where that note is an issue, which we can find out after we apply the EQs, we can actually take and play that sound through our system's EQ. That's when you would actually use that other mode that I mentioned, which was... where was it? Ah, that's right. These EXCL things, you would actually use in here, output device. You would output through EXCL, this thingy, I believe. I'm pretty certain that if my EQs were on and we did this test today, all of the responses would have been flat. So we definitely recorded the real data. The EXCL, whatever, that uses actual data through the afterwards. It's a little bit better if you already have EQs applied. So we got this. We got our EQ somewhere. Here it is. So I guess we're just going to take it. This boost of... I swear there's a button for it. But either way. So yeah, 7 to 8 decibel boost isn't too bad for that. It just kind of sucks that we're getting 8 decibel boost, specifically at 80 hertz. That means the speaker will try harder there. But the speaker doesn't flex much at that spot. It'll just have to push harder. It's kind of a shame. That's a room problem. Like I said, you'd probably want to just kind of like nudge this down and accept the loss because it's just the room. You're fighting an infinite problem. That's what a professional would probably do, is tone all this down a little bit. But we're just going to take the literal stuff. We're going to export this as well. And this is going to be called... takes so long to get down here. R50. Okay. So we're going to take this. We're going to label this one. This is the right speaker. This is 14 inches from the wall by 22 inches. And we measured it at 50 inches. So there's our data. And you basically have your EQs done. That's it. All this other data was for referencing. Our both speaker data was reference. The close-up and far-away data was referencing. We decided to just go with our 50s. You could have averaged out some of those and made it more generalistic for the entire room, but we decided not to. And now, I need to resave that. Hold on. I don't need this anymore, but I do need to save all. Yes, okay. We got our data. All right, we're going to apply it to this speaker and this speaker individually. For this location right here, basically where the chair is sitting, where our head would be. And then we'll be done, guys. We'll be done. So, how to use equalizer APO. Once again, you would literally just type in equalizer APO into Google. You'll be able to download it for Rue. You type in Room Equalization Wizard. and it'll also be that. The symbols. Roux has like some weird fuzzy colors, and Roux equalizer APO is literally a text creation thing. So this is like a video game. When you turn on equalizer APO, it's like not a video game. It's like what should I call it? An emulator. This isn't like an emulator, essentially. This is emulating something. I know. So when you open up equalizer APO 1.42, whatever, you're just going to have config.txt. Config.txt is extremely important. Do not get rid of this. You need this. This is how this works. If you happen to delete or screw up this, it's really simple to fix. This is how you fix equalizer APO if you did this scenario. All you would see would just be a plus symbol here, by the way. There would not be the EQ adjustments. There would not be the Roux. That wouldn't be there. These two would not be here. You'd just have a plus symbol and this config.txt. You're like, okay, well, how do I apply my EQs? What do I do? Oh, cool. You click on the plus and now there's a graphic equalizer. Great. So I want to apply this and this and this and this and all of this cool stuff. Now we got a cool EQ. Look what it did. It did some. Oh, I have it set to the right device. Cool. So I want this EQ to be applied to here. This is going to work great. And I have a stereo setup. I only have 2 speakers. It's stereo, so perfect. All right, we're good to go. So you click and you go to save. And you change the name. Equalizer APO will not work if you don't have config.txt. Now, if you don't have config.txt, you can go into open and you can find where all of the config files should be. So equalizer APO is going to look in this folder called config for config.txt. Then it works only when it finds that in that spot. If you need to find it the hard way, I will show you too. So you would open up your thing here. You would go down to my PC, obviously, your hard drive, your first hard drive. You go to Program Files, and then you'll just find Equalizer APO. And then you'll just find the config file at the top. That is where everything is. You have to have this. If you don't have it, all right, if you fucked up and you don't have it at all, it's gone, what are you going to do? It's really simple. Just open up a notepad, all right? There we go. We got a notepad, right? Nothing in it. You don't have to put anything in it. You just save. You save as. And you save as to this config folder. And all you need to make sure is that this is a .txt file. And literally just name it config.txt. That's it. Lowercase everything. You save this in this specific config equalizer APO file that's under your programs and your hard drive, and it will read it from here and you'll be fine. Everything will work. You have to do that. You have to make sure it has config.txt. This is what drove me nuts for months, trying to figure out how to get equalizer APO to work. So now you know to do that, and then when you click new, this is now an unsaved document. Everything you do in here now is just going to be whatever you want. Here's a preamp. Do you see that bottom down here? Nothing's happening. Doesn't work. But you see, if I go into here and I add it, we can change it. And that's because it only reads the config.txt file. If you want to read your other saved files, you know, I made a file, I want to name it specifically EQ adjustments. Here's my EQ adjustments. You just save this. And then when you're in config.file, I'll show you what you do. On the config.txt, which you always have to have, you're just going to press this plus button and go to control and include configuration file. And in the configuration file, you just click load and load the thing you just made. You know, these blueprints that you're making along here that didn't do anything, they're saved here. And then you just click the one that you want to load. And that will load your settings. So how do we load up the RU stuff? Well, technically you can literally just right here put in the RU data. But if you want to have it not be tied to a permanent thing here, and you want to have other tabs and stuff like that, I actually made one specifically here on the sidelines that does that. So this is include this thing, you know, I clicked new, right? I clicked here and this is what you would do, by the way. You'd click new, you click control, include program files. And now we are going to add those files. I saved them somewhere. I forgot where they save. Where does RU even save? Documents, EQ stuff. Okay, I put it in documents. So that's fine. So yeah, we go up here to documents. EQ stuff. Which one was it? EQ RU calibrations. That's where I saved it to. EQ RU calibrations. No, because that's the sound card. APO. APO, that's where it's saved to. That was to open a file for it. It saves the text file to here. So we're just going to go by date modified. And right there is our right and left data. But instead, I want to dictate which speaker is which. Now, it loads all the presets from bottom or from top down. So if you want to EQ both speakers, like I did in this one, which is just a subtle difference, just to kind of correct some of the bullshit that was going on in both of them, you can just put that at the top. You don't have to have the all. So let's just make one, because we need these channels, right? We don't need that one anymore. These EQ adjustments, that's completely different. These are personal adjustments, just to describe real quickly. There we go. They are... I lost them for a second. They're like all down really low. I just need to do this for personal reasons, by the way. And then I'll explain everything. Okay, so we got the EQ adjustments out of the way. Don't worry about that. We have config.txt, right? We just made this file thingy, and we don't know what to put in it yet because we need to make the thing. We need to tell config.txt, hey, I want you to run this saved file that I made for this very specific task. I mean, you can run everything under config, but then you can't save this as anything. You will never know what it is, and if you need to make changes, you have to do it every time instead of having your saved data. You cannot... I mean, you could technically save this as whatever you wanted, and then whichever one you wanted, you would name config.txt and resave it. But then you would lose the name, and it'd be confusing. So... we don't have to worry about this right now. We clicked the button, we went to control, we included a configuration file. That's all we needed to do. We have it. Now we don't actually need it here because I have one right here, and that's the one we're going to use. And this top one, ignore. That's a personal thing I'll explain afterwards. So here we go. We did the RU stuff. We got our left and right speaker equalizations to make them flat and to correct them. So we clicked new. We're actually going to delete that one. So we clicked new, right? You can click new all you want. These are templates. These do not apply to config. We have to save these as something to add in. So all we're going to do is go into channel select. We want this to be the left speaker. And we're going to add another control, include configuration file. That is going to be our EQ stuff, or EQ calibrations. You look at our modified files here. This is left 142250. That is the one we made. There you go. Now if you click this arrow, here is all of those settings that we had just made with RU. All of them. Just right on in. This is why we used RU, because I'm going to enter all this data myself, one at a time. If you happen to not be able to use a computer and use APO, you might have to do some of this manually, but it's an option. And you can delete that. It's still there. Config text is still reading that one file, but that little arrow just lets you bring it up if you want to edit it. Now we're going to make another one. So we're going to go to Control again. We're going to make a channel. We want it to be the right channel. What is the right channel going to do? It's going to include configuration file. So it's reading left channel, this. Right channel is going to be this. The right channel. All right. Now this is made, but it's not applying an EQ. If we were to go over to here, all of these are being applied right now. So if we turn off all of those, you can see these are not changing shit. You're like, well, that sucks, man. I made the thing. Why isn't it doing it? Well, like I mentioned, we need to save this. And we don't have a third one, so we don't need to worry about it. We're just going to go to File. We're going to go to Save As. This one is saving it to Program Files, Equalizer, APO, Config. Yeah. This is not where it should be going. Documents, EQ stuff. This is RU calibrations. I mean, what am I doing? No, this is APO calibrations. Which it already has left and right here anyways. Probably because they're loaded in. Oh, that's right. RU calibrations is saving things for RU. This APO is all about that. And then ABO presets I made. This is where I want it. This is a preset for my speakers at a certain distance. So this EQ is going to be called EQ 14-22, whoopsies, and -22-50. That's what this is for. This lets me know that my listening position at 50 inches away with my speakers at 14 inches from the wall, 22 inches from the wall, that recording is going to give me the best results. So if I move my speakers to other positions, I know what I to expect. So after you have a lot of settings, you could move your speakers around theoretically and just click one of these things and you'd have your stuff. Well, now that we made the thing, we need to go to config and add it. So what we would do normally, which actually we're going to just remove that one. And this one's special. We're going to leave that one. So we'd click plus. We'd include configuration file again. That configuration file is going to be documents for me, EQ stuff, and we did the presets. And it's going to be this one, EQ 14 blah, 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 blah. Boom. Now we have the EQ applied. There's the left, there's the right, and they're different. Now it literally is working. That's it. You are done. You have EQ'd your speakers. There is a little extra you can do. What I ended up doing is making this. We can now get rid of this. We don't really need it because it's right here. That is telling it to read these two files and put them in the right spots, which is really cool. And yeah, every time you come in, you just change the config of this. I have an EQ adjustment bar though. Whoops. And that is really important to me. What this does, are they all off? Okay. When I turn this on down here, I get a bass boost. The bass boost is going to go from, can't really hear it, 25 hertz. Speakers don't do shit. 30 hertz though you can, 12 decibels. 65 hertz as well, up to 12. And I drop it down. This gives you a nice bass boost like you have subwoofers, which they are two subwoofers, but when your speakers are flat, your bass is flat, you'll find that the bass is extremely underwhelming. You can barely even hear the bass. That's literally what bass should be. Depends on the song, but if you're listening to all of the notes together, bass is pretty much buried. You don't really hear it. And this is just for a general boost. So I went up to 300 to 80, and then down to 30, and that's just to give a nice by 6 hertz to give it a nice gentle kind of a room curve. And if I want to add a little bit extra treble, I can boost the end that we have that issue with. These are going to make it sound... I'll just click the button for you. So you can see right around 20 hertz, gets rid of all data. What's up? Why? I don't know why I had to cut myself with a knife. Just a little boo-boo. Just a little boo-boo. Just a little boo-boo. It's not a big deal. So, once again, this one down here, but yeah, boost the treble. Boost the bass. Boost the bass a lot. But then this gets rid of the bass, or gets rid of, no bass. What? Yes. This one gets rid of the low sounds my subs can't reproduce at all. That's just an option. You hear no difference. This one just actually gets rid of all of the bass, so there's no subwoofer sound anymore. This one goes up to like 600, 700, yeah. And it's like a slow decrease downward, so this kind of like is more TV style. And then this one up here is a harsh cut at around almost 1,000 hertz, 900. And it basically sounds like a phone at that point. That's just for testing purposes. So I like to have that open at all times on the side, and when a song comes on, I'll just usually click on this one, or I'll click on this one. You can click them both, but once it goes past 12 decibels, it actually is going to be pulling from the rest of the sound source. You'll hear it as the bass hits loud enough to get to plus 17 decibels in one of these spots. It's going to make everything else go quieter. So you don't want to go over 12. In fact, this is actually 12.1. Ugh. Oh, that sucks. That means this has to be 11.99 or just 9. There, 12 decibel peak period. Don't go past 12. So we lost 0.1 decibel, but that's okay. We got it all set up. So if you wanted to fix that, I'd literally just go back and I would have set the filter line while I was adding the EQs to be even higher, so it would drop everything even lower. Right? Does that make sense? If I went to the EQ, if I set this line to like 80, then it'd boost it. So you'd set it lower. So actually we were right. I was right to set it around 73. It would have actually not have... Well, it was actually taking away... Yeah, I would have to take away more. Yeah, if I would have set to 73, it would have actually been better. But that's okay. We did it all. And you're set. You can re-save your config file. By the way, you can save the fact that these are here. This is your blueprint for what you want your game to do. Like your emulator. Let's say this config file is your emulator. You're telling the emulator what game you want to play, what you want to do that game. And this is that. So this is what game I want to play. Is this equalizer and this equalizer. And this is all the data for the game to make that game happen, essentially. And that is everything that I can tell you that I know, I think, about making your speakers sound amazing. Also, we lost... oh, we got music. Nice, this whole time. Good. I'm glad the music was still playing that whole time. Stream's still running. Everything is looking great. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by and watching. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything that... anything. Whatever you want. I appreciate it. Just let me know. I'll read it. And hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.